After reading Sheryl Sandberg's chapter one in her book on women in leadership, there's a lot to take in and a lot to reflect on. And one of the themes that really resonated with me was this idea of raising our girls to be fearful. And I think I was lucky because I was raised by my mother. My dad passed away when I was little. And I had a strong female role model. She raised four children, provided for the household, took care of our education, any needs that we may have, while at the same time pursuing her own academic interests and developing a successful career. And so for me, I was just surrounded by a strong female leader in my life, and I grew up believing that I could, of course, achieve anything that I put my mind to, although I didn't really know what that was going to be. And now that I'm raising my own kids, of course, I want to be that same strong female role model for them. But I'm noticing when I look back on the ways that I was raised and reflect on how I want to raise my kids, I think that there was an absence of conversation in my household when I was growing up. We didn't talk about hard issues like race and gender and ethnicity and poverty and religion or politics. And I think that attributed to my growing up with a lot of misconceptions about myself, fearful of the mistakes that I would make and the roles and responsibilities that I had, and the same misconceptions and perhaps fear of others and what was going on in their personal and social context that influenced in the development of their person, right? And so I think I did grow up with fear, although not fear of not being able to achieve, but fear of not knowing and not knowing what I was supposed to do with myself and not understanding really the limitations I was living with, right? Or understanding the limitations that other people were living with. And so as I go now to raise my own children, I want them to embrace fear. I want them to understand fear. I think fear is natural. And I think that they need to learn how to navigate and manage it and accept themselves for who they are, but also understand what society is built on and, recognize these hard conversations and these hard topics, that there is racism, that there is discrimination, that there is sexism. There are limitations placed upon people by particular social definitions, and we need to be aware of that so that we can counter that. And so while I'm in general critical of Sheryl Sandberg's book, I think that it was an important topic that she brought up, that fear does condition society to act and behave in a certain way, but only by having these hard conversations, which is what I think Sheryl Sandberg wants to do, is open up the conversation about gender inequality and fear being a factor that influences in that. And so for that, I'm grateful. And I, more than anything, want to encourage my children to embrace fear, talk about it, have these hard conversations, and then understand that they don't have to accept the status quo, that they can change the things that they're no longer willing to accept. And in order to do that, they have to understand their responsibility in society as well and exercise their voice and their rights. And so that's my takeaway from chapter one and the importance of fear and raising children. Thank you.